Everyone, welcome to yet another video on our Python Bootcamp, and this is day 3. And I hope both the days are kind of useful for you guys. If you have learned something new, I hope. And guys, regarding attendance form, don't forget to fill it at the end of the day. And because it is one of the key parameters that is necessary to get a certificate from us. And if you guys have any doubts along the way, just comment it, and we are happy to address the issues or address the doubts. So let's get into day 3, right? So today in our bootcamp, we're gonna look at what function is, what the function definition or declaration is, how to call a function, difference between a global and local variables, and how to create an anonymous functions. At last, we'll be also using some of the modules, how to import them, and how to use certain built-in functions or built-in modules or pre-scripted modules can be used, whereas that might be reducing a lot of time where we need to write a code from scratch. So let's get into the part, guys. Like, first of all, what is a function? So function is nothing but a block of statements, and as like to get a clear understanding like when to use a function, it is also important to understand the context. Like whenever you have a scenario of repeating a task, consider you are summing up some 5 to 10 values repeatedly for 5 to 10 lines. Consider like there is a sum function for each and every 10th line of code. It is better to add a function there and return the sum, so that it is one of the ways of efficient coding, right? So this is how you this is how you declare or define a function. First of all, you use a keyword called def, and then followed by the function name. Like function name is like any kind of name that we like to have, and make sure, guys, that makes some sense, so that it must be readable and understandable to the next users. Like it might be the other coders or it might be the end users. So and then arguments are like, it's not kind of compulsory, but there are functions like with that has arguments, and there are functions that does not have arguments. Let's some of the examples, so don't worry, guys. And after it is always important to have a colon and followed by the statements. And it is very very important that like we need to have the statements to be indented to show that these statements or comes under this block of functions. So if you guys miss some kind of indentation, then it won't come under that function. Okay, let's get into some hands-on experience of defining a function. So as I said before, let's have a scenario, right? Like we have like let's say student 1 math is equal to 890, student 1 science is equal to 100, student 1 social is equal to 85. Let's just copy this and then alter some changes around here. Let's this be 70, let's this be 80, let's this be 95. And I just don't want to have the same student. Let it be 2 2 2, and here let it be 3 3 and 3. Let this be 75, and let this be 80. Okay, guys, so consider you wanna have a sum of like each and every student's marks, right? So instead of like total marks, you have a total mark. Consider like you have total marks, and you have like student 1 underscore math plus student 1 science plus student 1 social. And this is one such scenario where it is good to have a function. So let me finish this, guys, so you'll be having a clear cut idea like why I'm doing this. So at last we have total marks here, and it's gonna be 3, sorry, yeah, student 3. student 3 and student 3. So I'm gonna print total marks. Same case here, right? Okay, let's run this function. Let's run this code, not function. So we have total marks, but you guys can see like we have some variables. All we need to do is like all we need to do is like sum these values to get a total marks, right? So instead of repeating a same kind of logic again and again, it is always a good practice to have a single function. So it can be declared like around here, like, so all we need to have is like def a keyword, like let's have sum of marks as the name. It is adding some sense, and all we know guys is like it has three subjects in it, like A, B and C. And guys, like these are called arguments. Like what we have is like argument that shows like these are the values that is gonna be passed. And it is always important to have the same number of arguments and same number of arguments, like while calling and while declaration. I'll be explaining that too, so don't worry guys. So what I'm gonna return is like return A plus B plus C, right? So this is a kind. So let's have total underscore marks is equal to, we have a function declared, right? So it says like A, B and C. The reason why it has only A, B and C in this helper bar is like we have only three arguments, right? So we know like these are the three arguments. So it must be represented in comma, and yep. So let's have the same here also, and I need to change to here also. It's gonna be 3, 3, 3. So now I'm gonna run the function. You guys like have noted, like I have created a function here, and this is called this step is called function declaration or function definition. As we are declaring a function or defining a function, this is gonna be my name, this is gonna be my arguments or something that is I'm gonna get as input, and this is what I'm gonna return it as an output. So this is a set of inputs which is to be processed and returned as an output, and this is called function. Sorry, this is called function call. So here we are calling that function and telling like, hey, these are the inputs, just do the process and return the values. So let's run it, and we will be having some good idea on it. So here guys, you know, like these are the same things, same values that we got earlier, but in here we, instead of repeating a part of code again and again, we are just declaring a function so that it can be used in future also. It doesn't you might be thinking like, okay, first of all, it's just 3 lines of code, and I'm quite happy with what I was doing before itself, and why should I write a block or write a function, right? So now when we are dealing with this is just a scenario, and this is a sample scenario where we're just having a three set of three set of repetitions, whereas there might be a time where you might have like thousands of steps where you need to thousands of students where we need to find the total marks like for each and everyone. Is in such scenarios it is better to declare a function, thereby we are reducing some lines of codes and we are making our code more readable. So this is one of the good practices. And guys, like it is more important, like we need to pass, if we are passing 3 variables right here, it is always important to pass only 3 variables. Consider I'm just having a student to math also along with that. So on writing it will be throwing like error, like sorry, consider I'm having this function. Okay, 1 minute. Okay, guys, I like to show what the error means right now. So student 2 math is not defined. The reason is above the function call we have only student 1 math and student 1 details alone. We are not having student 2 details. So that is what the error statement is saying. Okay, let me have student 1 math along with student 2 maths. Here if you are running we won't be getting this error, whereas we'll be getting yet another error. Let me show that for you guys. Okay, here it says like it's a type error. Sum of marks takes only 3 optional arguments but 4 were given. So it is the Python is one of the best tool that shows error more relevantly, and it is more readable and more understandable. Here it says like you have defined a function that takes only 3 possible arguments. Okay, this is my function I have declared, and this is what it can take in, whereas you have given 4 variables. So this is the reason, guys. I'm just mentioning that whenever you are passing an argument, it is more you must be conscious like what are the number of arguments, like have I include whatever the process, like consider I'm just having an authentication file, or like consider I'm just authenticating a pin number. Let's say it is not important like you need to check the pin alone. It is also important to check the username also, whether the username is first of all available in the system. So if you guys like just got the pin number into a function and not the username, it doesn't make sense, right? If you're passing the username into the function, it will say, hey, you just tell me I'm gonna get a 1 input and I'll be processing and sending the output, but now you are sending me two inputs. What should I do? So this is how Python reacts to more question arguments than we had declared or defined. So I hope I made my point clear now, why we need a function and how important arguments are. And you guys can ask him, okay, is there any function like without arguments? Like we shall decide that too. So let's have a welcome message. Oh, okay, and we shall not pass any kind of arguments right now. So let's just print welcome to day 3. So I'm just gonna call it, right? So just call welcome with some brackets. So on running that, you'll be having welcome to day 3. So here also, guys, the only difference is we are not having any kind of argument. Other than that, we have followed all the standard points that need to be validated for a function, which is like having a keyword called def along with the name of a function and the parenthesis and then the statement under the block. Because guys, like it is also important, like you need to have a indentation within a block that shows like these statements comes under this block, and here you have called the function. And guys, you hope remember the past statement which we have declared, which we have discussed last day, I mean day 2. So consider you are given a requirement to authenticate users IDs, etc. So but you have not yet gotten a kind of the requirement to be followed within the block, like list of statements like what should I print or so and so. If you just bluntly leave a function without any kind of statements under it, the Python thinks like, okay, you have forgotten to indentate this line. So let me show you that too. Yeah, here it says like it's an indentation error, expected an indented block, right? So in order to avoid this, we have learned something more useful, right? So that's right. What you're guessing is like past statement. So whenever you are giving a past statement, it won't throw any error. It's like just hiding the exception and saying like, hey, this is like under development. So here you won't get any kind of exceptions like what we got here, right there, right? So even though you're calling, you don't get any kind of statement executed. The reason is on calling authenticate, you don't have any kind of statements to be executed. But when you call a welcome function, you have a statement to be executed, which is printing a welcome statement like welcome to day 3. And whereas when you're calling a sum of marks function, you have a progress, like you have a process to be done, which is summation or addition, and you are returning an object. And guys, like whenever you are returning object, it is good to have a variable to catch those values, right? I hope I make the point more clear, because in order to, if you guys have anything like that to be done for future, like if this total marks is used yet another where like it is not needed, you don't need to call again and again passing these arguments. It is better to save that values, like return values, to a variable, and you can use that variable wherever you want, right? So I hope I made my point clear on function declaration and function call. Along with it, I also covered a function with arguments and without arguments, and a function which is yet another it is which is a work under progress, like how we can define a function and pass without any kind of statements. Yep, let's move on to our next topic. So we have covered this one, and we have covered function calls. We also covered some kind of examples. Yeah, we also covered some examples. Okay. And okay, what is a global and a local variable? So it is very much important, guys. So whatever you are having inside the indentation or inside this block of functions or local variables, whereas the variables that are outside the blocks are global variables. Like let's say I'm just having this x is equal to a plus b plus c, and I'm also returning the x values, right? So in case and this is a very good example, guys. Like right now we are having in our hands, so here the student one math, and whatever the values we have right now, these variables are global variables. The reason is it is not under any kind of block, and it is so that's the basic mantra, or that's the basic definition for differentiating a global and a local variable. Here we have, this is an example of a local variable. This is global and this is local. The reason is it is found under a block. We have an issue like we can print the global variables wherever, like whenever it's possible, whereas if I am trying to print x, which is the local variable of sum of marks, we won't it will be having an exception or an error. So let me clear this scenario, and yeah, it says like name error, where name x is not defined, because as I said before, we have also had a scenario with student 2 under student 1, right? The student 2 is not declared before. The same scenario here, the x is not declared as a global thing. So whereas how about printing this x inside this function? And I'm just commenting this to avoid the error which we are thrown right now. Yep, we have 275. So let me okay, for our understanding, let me comment this print statement. So we'll be we'll be having some clear output of what x is. 1 minute. Clear. I'm just having a print of student 1 math, and I'm just having print of x. Let me comment this to yeah. Okay, so this one is like printing the student 1 math, which is I guess 90. Yep. And then we have 275, which is nothing but whenever I'm calling this sum of marks function, you guys know that this would directly trigger the it triggers, and then the function checks for whether it is defined, and if it is defined, the statements, whatever statements within it will be executed. So on executing x is equal to a plus b plus c, we are printing the values of x. So this is nothing but the 275. And guys, you could see like none other place we have the print statement. So it proves like the local variable is working. And this is how a local variable works. Its proximity is within its block alone, whereas the global variable's proximity, it's like around, like, let's say I just want to print s2d. Yeah, that's what I'm just saying, right? Okay, so this is how I print a global variable inside a local function. And it is possible, guys. Like, let me print this for you, and I clear this session. Yeah. So yep, you can see two times 90 is being printed. Like, one is under like std1 here right now, and then another with like on calling the function. So first 90 is on the global thing. It's on global thing. And the second 90 and the sum is like on calling the function. So this is like makes some sense. Like, whenever you have a global variable, it can be used under any kind of functions, irrespective of it is being declared within an argument. Like, it is like here, student one math, it is not even necessary to have been declared as an argument, whereas it is used as it has a global property, or its proximity is around the script, wherever it has, like, whenever the variable is global. Whereas it is not the same case for the local variables. I hope I have made my point more clear. And if you guys have any kind of doubts regarding this one, don't forget to post the doubts in the comment. So once you have learned, guys, like what a global and what a local variable is. And as I said before, like, there is a way of converting a variable inside a function to a global variable. So that is done using a keyword called global, right? So it's like you can try this on your own, like how a global statement works for a local variable. And let us know. We'll be interested to know how you guys are enthusiastic to learn something new, right? So let's get into yet another more interesting topic, which is called a lambda function. Like, it is also called an anonymous function, guys. The reason is it has no name, right? And the way we declare is like, we have the arguments and the expression being separated by a colon. So let's not get into something more deep right now. Let's take this same function, right? So let's try to write a simple lambda function that replicates the sum of marks. Okay, so let's not have this one. Let's, like, for simplicity, let's have one student's details around, right? So let's have this one, and then let's say print result of normal function, right? So let's write these print statements. Okay, so let's have some, let's say, another dot mark. Let's say this is the variable, and this is how you have a lambda function. So lambda function is like, it starts with the word lambda, like how we have a def keyword to declare a user defined definitions, and having followed by a name here as the name of the lambda function. Other name of lambda function says it is anonymous. It doesn't have any kind of name. So all it has is like the arguments. So a, b, and c, and is 2 A plus B plus C, right? So let's have this stop box. Okay. So we have declared the lambda function with a kind of arguments and the expression or the statement that need to be handed over right now. So we are, let's say, like I'm just gonna print and the result of a lambda function. Okay, so then we have the print statement here. It says like tot mark of. We are just gonna have the 3 arguments, right? So student 1 math science, and student 1 social. Upon running this, oops, yep, we have the same results. The thing is, instead of having these 3 lines of code, we are just having a 1 line of code. So this is a kind of a way of writing some efficient functions without kind of names, specific names to be added on it, unlike how we do for a user-defined function. I hope you guys have learned something new today, and it is more important to practice this, guys. And if you guys have any kind of doubts, don't forget to put in a comment section. So let's move on to our next topic, which is something more important and more interesting, that is modules in Python. So modules in Python are nothing but the Python codes which have been already written by some authors, and sometimes they are built in modules, sometimes they are written by some communities. And in this session, we are just gonna look on some of the built-in modules like math and then random, and tkinter will be it's like kind of, you guys know what tkinter is all about, but in this session we just gonna know what math and random is alone. Like tkinter is like a library which is used to create some applications with some buttons like user interface. Simply we shall says like a dialog box or any kind of applications like for desktop applications. Okay, so let's discuss some of the interesting terms like we have in math and random. Okay, so first I'll be going with our math functions. Okay, let me clear this for you guys. So we all know pi is not like 3.14 alone, right? So in case you want the value of pi, let's take for some kind of mathematical computations, like it's kind of a hard thing that can't be done manually, or it can be done manually, but it's a time consuming process. But you guys thinking of writing a code which is more efficient than by means of time consuming and such things. And first way of importing any kind of models, like it might be built in, or it might be a third party or other community based. First of all, if it is not built in, it is more important to install the package first. So the command used, guys, let me comment it right here, is pip and then install and the package name, and the package may be pandas or numpy, etc. And this is how you install something which is not built in. Whereas in case you are having a package which is kind of a built-in package, all you need to do is, guys, first of all, as we have a def keyword for creating a function, we also have a keyword called import to bring in the codes of that module. So let's have the module name as math, right? So as I said before, we all in need of the value of pi, and I'm just gonna like store that value in a variable called pi. And all you need to do is like type in the module name math dot and then enter pi. So let me print the pi value for you guys. Yep, this is the pi value, right? I hope you will be agreeing with me. Let me clear this session for you guys. And you all might be had known something called floor statements or floor values of a decimal. So guys, let me to guys who don't know what floor or math floor or seal in maths, let me give a simple example. So consider you have a 3.5. whenever we are rounding up, and whatever the values which is equal to zero point 0.5 or greater than zero point 0.5, we'll be rounding that up into 4, right? But in most of the cases, it doesn't make sense. Like in most of the real life scenarios, it doesn't make sense. So sometimes it is always good to go with the lowest value. Sometimes it is always good to go with the highest value for some, like let's say for a buffer time, right? It really depends upon the real life scenario, guys. So whenever you are conscious about having the value as low, even though it is 3.8 or greater than zero point 0.5, we'll be going for a function called floor in math, which returns the just the whole number. Let's say 3 here. Whereas you guys are more adamant, like I need only the highest value or the values, irrespective of whether it's zero point 0.5 greater than or less than zero point 0.5. Let's say even it's 3.1, right? You all guys know, like even when we are rounding 3.1, we'll be getting only 3, right? But on using the ceil function, you'll be getting the value 4. Let me do this. Let me illustrate this same function for, let's say we have the value of pi with a variable, right? So let's say these are the functions, guys. Like right now we are having within the math function. This is one of the way you can, this is the reason we are using VS Code, and VS Code is a very good editor where it will be helping us with most of the features we have encountered right now. So all I need to have is like put a dot and then just type in the name, right? So I'm just gonna have the floor value of pi. So as I guys mentioned earlier, the floor value is like irrespective of the decimal point, it would be just placing the value, whole number's value, right? So I'm just gonna run it. Yep, it is actual value is 3.14 and the whole floor value is 3. And print math.c of pi. So guys, like as I mentioned before, the 3.1, irrespective of 3 point being a lowest, like less than zero point 0.5, even when we're rounding up, we will be considering 3, right? But in case of ceil function, we'll be having a whole number greater than the one without the decimal point. Like one without the decimal point is 3, plus 1 will be the ceil value. Let me show the output. Yep, we have 4 value. You can see it's like it's 3.14. It's 3.1 literally. It's not even 3.2. But still we have the value of 3 here. Sorry, 4. We are not even rounding up. We are just sealing it up. So you guys have had this nightmare of finding square root of a number whenever you are guys like working on with school like homeworks, or sometimes if you guys in kind of math subject in college, it would be a kind of hectic to find a square root of a large number, right? Let's consider a random number like 9874432. Like I'm literally don't know what the value is right now, but with the help of math function, we have a in the math model we have a function called square root, sqrt, of let's pass x. Let me run this for you guys really quickly. So this is the actual square root, guys. So let me like validate this for you for your basic understanding whether this whole thing is right or not. And we all know like what the square root of 81 is. By passing y, we should get 9, and of course we are getting 9. So this is how guys we can reduce our coding our code lines of codes by just reusing some of the built-in functions, and in some cases we might be using third-party libraries from Python or python.org. And let me introduce to you yet another function called power. So let's take a value as 7 and b value of 2, and consider I need a value of 7 power 2, and we all have encountered encountered a method for finding exponential powers, and I hope you guys know the answer, which is like 7 double star 2, which gives 49. And in math function, we have a fun. It is just for knowing, guys. Like it is always important to know, like, okay, there exists something that is inside the built-in library. So we have a function called math.power. All you need to give is like the base and the power values. So A is the base for us and B is the power that is to be raised. So on having the values, we have the 49. On finding the power, we have the 49. I hope I have mentioned some of the functions that comes under the math, and there are many other functions that we shall explore, and you guys can explore that. And let me introduce to you something, some of the functions under a module called random. So as I told guys, like it is important to have a keyword called import before any kind of module that we are introducing in, right? So let's have the import of random, and let's say I'm playing some kind of random games, and all I want is like I want a random number between 0 and 1. Okay, let's say okay, all you need to do is like type in random.random and just a parenthesis, and this, guys, like we just learned something like argumentless function, right? This is just one kind of function. So let me run this for you. Before that, I shall clear the session. Okay, so on running this, you have 9.96, and upon running again, you'll be having something different. Upon running again, you'll be having something different. So this is how random the random function is, right? So in case I'm not interested in a value between 0 to 1, and I'm kind of interested from a value with some lower range to higher range, say 1 to 10. So I'll be going for a function called rand of randint, and the lower limit is 1 and the upper limit is 10, right? So let me clear this session for you guys. On printing this value, we'll be having a 3, and on again printing we have a value of 9, on again we have a 8, on again we have the 9. So this is how a random int and the random function works, guys. Random is like random.random is provides a random number between 0 to 1. Random.randint provides a value between the lower limit and upper limit that is passed as an argument. And let's move on to something interesting, like which is choice and then sample functions. So in case I'm just obsessed with some let's say I get into a buffet system, and the buffet has paratha and then biryani and then let's say fried rice, and I'm just confused with what should I go for. And in that case I can choose from a list, right? So I'll be calling for a choice function, and just I'll be passing the list, and all I have is like a random choice from the above buffet list. So I have a parota right now, and again I'll be having parota, and now we have a fried rice, okay, and biryani. So this is how a random choice works. And guys, like if you are kind of stat student, you all might have learned something called a sample population and the actual population. Let's say we have some other dishes too along with that, like butter chicken and it's like chili chicken. And consider I'm always going for some kind of 2 items, right? So in that case, the sample size, this is the actual population, so this is the actual list. And consider I'm always obsessed with choosing 2 or 3 values. So in that case, I'll be going for a sample function, and I'll be passing the list. Along with that, I'll be passing a variable called k, which is which says like how many number of dishes I like to have in my plate. Let's say I like to have 2 dishes on every iteration or on every random choice, right? So upon having this, I'll be having a butter chicken on biryani right now, and next we have butter chicken on fried rice, and next we have paratha and biryani. Let's we have paratha and biryani, and then this is kind of random samples. Consider I'm just having I'm having 3 in the place of k. I'm just running it, guys. So here you could see the sample has been increased from 2 to 3. So this is how it was, and it is very much important at the point of statistics where we are choosing random samples for experimenting on some kind of hypothesis testings. And this is how a random function in sample can help for statistics. So guys, you guys don't need to panic on having, okay, what is sample population, what is a population, what is a hypothetical testing. You are just bombarding us with some terminologies, and these are some kind of terminologies that is used in statistics. All my point I like to make is like, whatever may be the domain, Python has its way to explain it, and Python has its way to make things simple, more efficient. And if you guys have learned Python, it would help you guys in future in whatever may be the domain you are working on. It might be an agriculture firm, or it might be or a statistical or data science field, or it might be a software development, it might be a website development, it might be a mobile application development, it might be a data analysis firm. And that there will be a way to implement software kind of thing. And if you're having a software kind of thing to be implemented, Python is a very good choice. The reason is this: we have every single modules or packages. We have a large number of community to contribute, and we have a very large number of community to help even if we have any kind of doubts. So that's the reason, guys, we are learning Python in this bootcamp. So guys, I hope we have learned something new. Let's say we have learned Lambda functions, we have learned what a module is, and we have also experimented some of the built-in modules along with some functions. We also learned what a global and local variable is, how to declare a function, how to call a function, etc. So I hope this session is more interesting and more helpful for you guys. And don't forget to fill in the attendance form. It is mandatory for us to provide you a certificate of completion. And hope you guys meet you in yet another session. Bye.